All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to our regular scheduled city council meeting. Today is July 16th, 2024. It's 6 p.m., and I'll call this meeting to order, and let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have our clerk read the open meeting statement for us.
This meeting and all meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
Thanks. Do you want to take a roll also?
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Colin Dykstra,
Here.
Paul Hagan,
Here.
Eric Halverson,
Here.
Dimitri Martin,
Here.
Paul Mayo,
Here.
Corey Nagel,
Here.
Eric Olson,
Here.
Dave Peterson,
Here.
Scott Berchatsky,
Here.
Henry Veliker.
Here.
10 present, we have a quorum.
Nice. Full house. And do you want to start the introduction of the department heads?
Barb Nowak, City Clerk.
Aaron Jensen, City Administrator.
Eric Bailey, Library Director.
Jared Kivala, Community and Economic Development.
Stephanie Reif, Finance Director.
Justin Behrens, Director of Public Works.
Laura Colbert, Parks and Rec Director.
Brian Hosell, Chief of Police.
And Josh will be out here when it's his turn to talk about his report. And Greg, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? Everybody knows you, of course.
Greg Roman, Grant Writer.
Thanks, Greg. All right, consent agenda. There is no additions to the consent agenda. Is there any item that a council member would like to see moved to the regular agenda? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Dykstra, that we approve the consent agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Under the regular agenda, there's no additions, but we do want, if you look at the end of your agenda after our closed session, we have that issues, projects discussion, and we're asking that we can move that up. That will be the first item under the, so right before new business. Okay, so that will go to, let's call it A4, if you're okay with that.
Make a motion that we approve the regular agenda with the suggested change by Mayor Smith. Second.
Motion by Veliker, second by Peterson, that we adopt the regular agenda with that one change. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Under non-agenda items, announcements and correspondence, we have a certificate of appreciation to Linda Hagan in recognition for her 10 years of service to the citizens of Waupaca. She started on 7/23 of 2014.
Mayor Smith, I've been an authorized representative to get that for Linda.
To receive it?
Yeah.
Okay, then we won't have to mail it. Eric does want to say a little bit.
Yep. Linda just wanted everyone to know that it has been an absolute pleasure working in the library these past 10 years, and that she thanks everyone for the recognition.
All right, thank you, Eric. We have, let's just do public input here first. Public input, this is for non-agenda items. If anybody has anything to speak to council and staff that is not on the agenda tonight, just raise your hand and give your name. Dave, go ahead.
I'd just like to report, I was copied on an email from a citizen in my District Number 1, Ward 1, about a water problem he has been having over the years down by the Brainers Bridge, Swan Park area. And he emailed Justin and Roger Hanson, of course, and they were on it about the same day that he emailed. Took care of the problem best they could. We've had a lot of rain, and they have gone back at least once to re-clean out and re-sweep out that sewer that was giving them problems. So he was very thankful. Thankful to Roger and the city crew, the street crew that does so much work other than just plow and paint the lines once in a while and those kind of things. So a compliment to our street crew, please. Thank you.
Great, yeah, thanks, Dave. Colin, I saw you had your hand up.
Yep. I was going to mention that this year's chain skiers are going to compete this Friday at the Wisconsin State Show Ski Tournament at Lake Waupaca near Wisconsin Rapids. This year's theme is called Holiday Smash Up. I'm wearing the team's T-shirt tonight. This year, the team has been practicing on Rainbow Lake and performing the shows at the Veterans Home site. The remaining shows they have will be held on Sundays, July 28th, August 4th, and August 11th. They'd like to recognize the collaborative efforts of the team, the chain skier team, our Parks and Rec department, and especially John Sturm. The team has been able to provide multiple learn-to-ski clinics for our kids in our area. I think you guys are all remember John coming here last year and thanking the council for their support. And John, or Sturmy as he's called by his teammates, has been instrumental in the past year in raising funds for this local organization that provides these opportunities for our kids, young and old, to enjoy water skiing here in Waupaca. I'd also like to thank all the businesses that were involved in sponsoring the team through our ad book, our yearly ad book. All the members have one tonight. It shows our remaining shows. If you have the chance, come out and check out one of the remaining shows or head over to Lake Waupaca this Friday to support the team. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Colin. Corey?
So I just wanted to acknowledge all of our city workers who help take care of Swan Park and make it the place that it is. I have a son who's in youth baseball, and we just got done with our second of our two baseball organization tournaments. Spent a lot of time there with rec baseball, and it's a great place to be. And having been to now for the past 2 years a lot of other parks playing baseball, you'd be really hard pressed to find somewhere better than Swan Park to play baseball. And that's a testament to the ongoing care that facility receives. It's really second to none. So thank you to the city workers who help make that the place that it is.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. A lot of compliments. I was up there too. Really nice. Any other? Eric, go ahead.
So it's a night to recognize some of the departments in the city, and with the flooding event that we had on July 5th, there was a lot of people that stood up and helped out our neighboring community in Manawa and even locally here. And the police department took a lot of calls from out in the county and surrounding area. DPW was supporting things, and local businesses here, stepped up to the plate, brought some things over there to take care of all the needs over there, the neighbors and whatnot. And it's pretty nice to live in a community like this that when people need help, they do it.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Paul?
As of a couple of days ago, the International Exchange Group was still looking for host families for our Japanese visitors that are coming next month. So if anyone's interested, please call City Hall.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, let's move on then. We have a proclamation which has to do with Arts Appreciation Month. And I see that Marcy and her gang are here tonight. Marcy, I didn't know. Do you want to go ahead and read that proclamation, or do you?
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
Would you read the proclamation, please?
I will read it. I just have to find it in my computer. Do you have a copy of it right there? Thank you, Laura.
Sorry.
Laura's Johnny on the spot. Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to read this, Brian.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Okay. This is the proclamation for 2024 for Arts Appreciation Month. Whereas the Waupaca community has a long history of volunteers coming together to promote the arts and arts appreciation. From a few dedicated people working to promote artistic exposure to the community, our arts community has grown to include a very sizable artist community and many arts organizations and arts-related businesses of all kinds. Whereas the arts not only provide entertainment, self-expression, and community building, but also create environments that promote innovation, curiosity, and ingenuity. Exposure to the many different kinds of artistic expression stimulates the development of creative solutions to both new and old challenges and a thinking outside the box mentality that is so vitally needed in today's world. Whereas the many different arts organizations and arts-related businesses in our area enhance our economy, bring in many tourist dollars, and make our community a more vital, robust, and dynamic place to live and visit. Our active arts community is a wonderful human complement to the natural beauty for which we have long been known. Whereas it is more than appropriate to honor and celebrate our dynamic, thriving artistic community with the month of August as Arts Appreciation Month. Now, therefore, I, Brian Smith, Mayor of the City of Waupaca, do hereby proclaim the month of August as Arts Appreciation Month, in testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed to the great seal of the City of Waupaca in the great state of Wisconsin this 16th day of July, 2024.
Thanks, Marcy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And then we just have it set up so that you can just go right into your
My spiel?
report. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Marcy Reynolds. I think I know everybody in the room. Thank you for your support for our organization. Our group, the Waupaca Community Arts Board, is a small part of the Waupaca Area Arts and Culture Network that is a result of the Waupaca Cultural Plan that was initiated in 2018. And I just wanted to recognize Henry as being kind of the seed that got that whole spiel started back then. And it's just continued to grow ever since then. This is our month to report to you, the Waupaca's Community City Common Council. I think it's called the Common Council, right?
Sure.
I like that better than City Council, on what we're busy with. So our little bit of background. The City of Waupaca has been extremely supportive to the Arts Board over the years. Just going to give you a few highlights of how you guys have been involved. You may not know all the different levels. Most recently, you worked with us to find a home for our Shine sculpture, which is a community-made sculpture that's going to be quite phenomenal. We worked hard with the Waupaca Foundry to create it, and then we jumped through a lot of different important, I guess I'd say hoops, not in a derogatory way, but to get everybody's input from the City Council to businesses to literally everybody as to where it should be installed, how it should be installed. Worked very hard with Laura Colbert. So that will be installed sometime this fall in the Riverview Rotary Park. So we're going to be very excited to celebrate that installation. The city's also been working with the Arts Hub and thinking of the Arts Hub and strategizing, most recently allowing us to work occasionally with Greg Groham, the grant writer, to find ways to make our organization, the Arts Hub, more sustainable. So we appreciate that. We're excited to be closing our Summer Nights concert series in the beautiful South Park next Wednesday with a special program by musician Kelly Jackson called Music is Medicine. And again, that's another interaction with the city, allowing us to use the parks for these concerts. Our last concert last week drew over 400 people. And everybody was comfortable and had a really fantastic time. So this has become a really wonderful thing for the community, and we thank you for allowing us to do it. Monthly, we work with through 96.3 FM, and we put on a show called the Waupaca Local Live Radio Show. It's kind of a hidden gem, if you haven't ever heard it, but we invite musicians who do original music to come on the show. It's kind of like a talk show, music show that I host, and that's brought a lot of musicians to town, and I've noticed over the years that a lot of them end up playing different venues in town, and it's just sort of boosts their careers and brings more diverse music into Waupaca. And I guess the last thing I'm going to mention is that we're excited that the city has been very helpful to us to help us put on our Articidipation Week and Arts on the Square. This is our 18th annual festival. It started out as a one-day deal, and now we're at, I think, 7 days, which is phenomenal. We have great plans for this year, and my friends from the Arts Board, Kathy and Davette, will hand out little schedule cards to you guys so you can see all the stuff that's going to be happening. So we hope that you guys can come down and take part in the myriad of activities. They're starting on Sunday, August 11th is our opening day. We have a bike parade. We've got a couple art projects. We have what we call the Big Sing, where we have a big open jam in the gazebo with musicians that play through a bunch of songs that we put together over the years. And the Central Wisconsin Symphony Orchestra is coming to do a steel drum interactive presentation. So that's Monday, or Sunday, and then every day throughout the week there are events, that many of them happening downtown, many of them happening with our local venues, leading up to Friday night street dance. This year we have the Jimmies playing. When we had them at South Park, that was our other biggest night. We had 450 people on a Wednesday night, so we're expecting a lot of people coming into town because that band has a huge following. So there will be food, beer, beverages. We might have a surprise at the band break. I'm not going to release that yet, but that's a really fun, family-friendly dance. And then Saturday, the festival with 35 juried artists, 3 music stages, food, workshops galore, artist demonstrations, a dance tent. Our featured dance act this year is a Hmong dance group that is going to be coming in full regalia, which will be really super cool. We've worked collaboratively with the farmers market. They beef their whole market up, so it's a really vibrant day downtown Waupaca. So we're thrilled. We've been thrilled with the collaborative nature that the city has taken over the 20 plus years that we've been working together, and we've noticed that this collaboration has spread throughout the city and organizations. And I swear, every time I come to a meeting, you're always talking about how you worked with another group, or this group's working with that group, and that is a really wonderful, healthy environment for a community to have. And I'm not sure if that exists anywhere else. So we're really proud and happy to see the downtown retailers now taking part in arts-related events. They're seeing that there's definitely economic benefits to interacting and including the arts in their programming. And we're thrilled to see the city's downtown events, including the Halloween celebration, which is so awesome. Who knew? I mean, that was one of those silver linings of COVID, right? And it's turned into just everybody's favorite downtown thing. And expanding that Yuletide celebration last year with that parade, it was magical. And all of that comes through not only the Arts Board, but all the groups that are in the Arts Network. Everyone seems to be realizing the benefits of arts and creativity in our community, and we are really grateful that the city is part of that. So thank you for being supportive of WACAB and all of the other organizations in the Arts Network and beyond. This is a very special environment that we have in Waupaca, and we're grateful to be able to live here. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcy. Any comments, questions for Marcy? All right, well, good luck. All right, let's go into the department heads' reports. Eric Bailey, you want to start?
Definitely. All right. Get us started here. Some items to highlight beyond what I included in the report. Unfortunately, the July 13th movie, which was supposed to be Field of Dreams, which we had scheduled at Swan Park, ended up being canceled by weather. We are working on rescheduling. I do want to extend thanks to Jared with the Community and Economic Development, as well as Laura with Parks and Rec. The movie series in the city of Waupaca continues to be a great collaboration between departments, as well as sometimes with the chamber as well. June visits were only down a little bit versus 2019 in terms of traffic. Reference and some other usage metrics, we are getting close to being back to pre-pandemic levels. In a few places, even above pre-pandemic levels. So it's exciting to see business getting back to something approaching usual in a lot of areas. Our Head of Youth Services position is open and is posted. If you are aware of anybody that would be interested in applying, it is up on the city's website. It'll be up through the end of the month. I am hoping to have the Library Associate position that was previously occupied by Laura Jandasek, who is our new Head of Technical Services, up and posted next week. Big event that we have coming up on August 10th will be the Renaissance Fair. I'm excited to report that we now have Waupaca's own reenactment troupe, that is the Wisconsin Vikings, that will be joining this as well. So what's particularly exciting about the group, besides the regalia, is that they'll be bringing a forge, a portable forge, to the event as well. If you know Luke, who's the new guy at WJ Duran, it's part of the equipment that they've got, really cool equipment they've got in the basement there. So forges are always a huge draw, so I'm told, at these events. So should be, weather permitting, very exciting. So that is my report.
Thanks, Eric. Questions, comments? Jarrett, let's go to Community and Economic Development here.
Thank you, Mayor. My report can be found on page 27 of your packets. Some highlights here. The next meeting for the Downtown Partnership will be July 30th. We did have to adjust that date a few times to account for some conflicts with my schedule, as well as some conflicts with the Chamber Director's schedule, who we would like to be heavily involved in this, as it is dealing with the downtown businesses and Chamber items. Some development updates, 223 Division Street, and Justin will have a small update on this one as well, but we did receive an update from the architect who had reached out and said that they hope to have a approval letter from the state for that project soon. So that is the old St. Mary's Church. So still on track. We're hopeful to get that started here before fall. River North Cottages, there is some significant improvements on that lot. There is a building, a structure up. If you guys have driven past there, you'll see the nice new construction framing and trusses, along with, I believe they got house wrap on the building already as well. So some great improvements occurring there. Wayfinding signage continues. Permits continue to come in. Pretty good amount, and keeps us busy. So continuing with those. And then I guess the last big update, the downtown late night event, where a lot of businesses are staying open till 7 in the evening, as well as there will be food trucks at the Danes Hall, as well, and a band. I do not know which band they have secured for this upcoming event, but they do plan to have a band at the bandstand. So encourage you guys to get out there, spread the word that is occurring. A great event to really shop at our downtown shops during the evening hours. And I guess one other item, now that I'm thinking of it, July 29th, Tycor Built is having a kickoff event at the Waupaca Country Club. The event is open to all, trying to encourage anyone who is interested in learning more about the development, the houses they're building, the price points, how they can work together. So real estate agents, things like that, are welcome to attend. The developers will be there to answer questions and talk more about the project. So have been trying to hand out some flyers. I am more than happy to get anyone little handouts if they would like to hand out to people. Otherwise, we can also send out an email to have that information electronic.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Did you just give us a little update on when you think Tycor is going to break ground?
We hope yet this year. Their initial thought was in August that they would try to start breaking ground, whether that's utilities, infrastructure, housing, something. I do believe that their hope was to have 4 to 8 houses started this year in the single-family portion of it. Maybe the multifamily that they're bringing forward, but it also might depend on the fall weather, winter, rain, things like that. So I do believe they hope to start in August, though. The plat is being recorded hopefully next week, and then the site plan for the multifamily will be coming forward in the beginning of August.
Thanks, Jared. All right, let's go to finance. Steph?
Well, mine's not nearly as exciting. Sorry, guys. Just working through budget season. We're starting to near to our workshops. So working with the department heads to get them all of their budget workshops or budget worksheets to work through and start chipping away on that. Been working with McClone, which is our insurance agent, on renewals and prepping for the annual workman's comp audit that's coming up. This week I'm attending my third year at the UW Green Bay Treasurers Institute. And upon completion of this, I will graduate from the Institute and continue on my track to my certification. Yeah, that's really all I have.
Thanks, Steph. Questions? All right, Mr. Behrens.
Thank you, Mayor. My update can be seen on page 32 and 33 of the packet. As usual, starting in wastewater. We have made an agreement with McMahon and Associates. We are working on the Bowlby lift station, and we got an agreement authorized by the Sewer and Water Board, basically do a preliminary study on that lift station. So if you don't know Bowlby, that's a nod to the old candy store that's in town, excuse me. That lift station is just south of Bailey Street or behind Neville's. It is a very significant lift station in our system. It receives four other or waste from four other lift stations and everything to the west side of the city. So we're doing a preliminary study to look into the flows and basically the dollar amount that we will need to replace the station in about 2 years. We have planned $1.5 million to replace that. So this is just the first step in to make sure our numbers and what we want to do is in the right track. So we'll be talking about this project quite a bit in the future. Manoa was talked about already tonight, and two of our wastewater guys were involved with that. One, Sam Zabel, who was actually off on that day and was at home, but responded to the emergency as a volunteer firefighter for Manoa. And talking to those guys up there, basically Sam put in a couple of very long days to respond to that event. Jesse Landry, our wastewater superintendent, was working that day and drove up there during the rains, brought a large Godwin pump and another trash pump to help them basically respond to the flooding. So two huge shout-outs to those two guys, basically working and doing a selfless act. We are receiving some high-strength waste from AgriPure, so that's the cheese factory in Waupaca. And we started that kind of as a trial, but so far things are looking really good in improving our phosphorus removal. We're going to continue to look at that. We're hopeful that it helps in the future, also creates an additional revenue stream. But on the trade-off side of it is on our solid side, the more we take in, the more we have to haul to basically haul away. So we are looking at that long term, but initial indications is it's helping us out. Street side, guys have been pretty busy actually digging. So we've had an unusual amount of both water and sewer digs. So sewer side with plugs and water side with leaks. It's keeping them guys pretty busy, along with the weather events, been doing a lot of fixing with washouts. So on the water side, again, we've had a number of leaks this year, unconventional, and one is underneath the railroad tracks on Holbeck Street. So we are trying to figure out how we're going to replace some water main underneath a railroad track. We have some ideas. We're putting some numbers together, and we'll be talking about it probably at the next Water and Sewer Board. Speaking of the Water Sewer Board, that board authorized a couple purchases, just like the council know about it. First off is at the Mount Tom location. We had to replace our dialer for the SCADA system. AT&T informed us that they are going to be removing the landlines up there, so we have to pivot, and we have to go away from the landline. We had to switch to the cellular dialer. It's a pretty significant cost, but a 50-50 split with water and wastewater. Another cost was our cross-connection control program. That has to be done every single year. We team up with HydroCorp. We've been doing that for like the last 8 years. They perform all the inspections and reporting back to the state. For the commercial and industrial sites, we do all the residentials. So we renewed that for a 2-year period. Facility side, the big talk here is Jake Waller is going to become the new fire chief. So we advertise for that, and we're going through the process of filling that vacancy. We're very close. We have a good internal candidate that we're hoping will get something solidified hopefully by the end of the month here. And then you see a couple big numbers at the end here. Eric Hintz, our water guy, 29 years with the city, and Roger Hansen at 37. So obviously we're thinking Eric's going to round that number off next year, and we'll wait to see what happens with Roger if he's going to round that number off.
All right, thanks, Justin. Any questions, comments? Justin? I know it's not a city road, but Tower Road just got an improvement made by the train. What is it, Canadian National?
Yep.
So if you haven't driven across Tower Road now, you don't have to worry about your tires. It's pretty smooth, so.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. All right, let's go to Parks and Rec. Laura?
Thank you. So June is one of our busiest months as we wrap up softball, baseball, t-ball, and prepare to open the beach and prepare for soccer. And we also, believe it or not, started planning for a Halloween on Main and Fallarama. So lots of things coming to a head in June. Soccer is off to a really great start. We have just under 400 kids signed up, 33 total teams. So it's just really exciting and fun to be out there. So far, King Road construction has not posed a problem, but we're getting weekly updates so we can notify our families and hopefully avoid any major headaches with that project. As you can see on my report on page 34, we had 200 baseball players, 130 softball, and 75 t-ball players. This is our biggest year for t-ball yet, so it just keeps growing, which is great. We have 2 different levels. I think I've said this before, competitive and beginner level t-ball, and that's really brought in a lot more kids because they can actually start doing coach's pitch in t-ball instead of just learning the skills if they are already more adept and have like older siblings or parents who are avid players. Our senior center was closed for the month or the week of 4th of July, but that did not stop our senior center members from being in the parade, and they won first place for the 3rd time. And they've won 3 second place awards. So they're very, very proud and happy about that outcome. Just today, the door to the senior center is getting replaced. So if you've ever tried to get in and out of that senior center during a humid day, it's very difficult. So we're really, really excited that that door is getting replaced. On here, it says for swim lessons that we had 175 kids the first session and 138 the second. That 138 number is now up to 153. Last summer, we only had about 100 kids sign up for the second session. So we really wanted to advertise this year. And I think it worked because we're up about 50 people. So we're excited about that as well. Beach concessions are higher than ever, 10 times more than we were making last year at this time. Our friends of Mirror and Shadow Lake learned all about cattails. You can see that on page 35. Page 36, there's a flyer that tells you which ones are native and which ones are invasive. And it also talks about the importance of fish sticks in our waterways. And then importantly to note that we have had to close down a few of our trails, Grass Lake and the west side of Swan Park, and possibly the Challenge the Outdoor Trail due to erosion. And so our park staff are going to be busy fixing those when the ground is safe enough to do that without causing more damage. And so that's something we'll be working on the end of the summer. And lastly, our goose roundup was pseudo-successful with 22 geese. I really want to thank Dimitri and Colin for coming out and helping with that. Dimitri brought his drone and Colin a kayak, and so I'm very thankful that we had some helpers with that. And then a local individual came and helped out right away at 7 in the morning. So very thankful for the help that we had with that.
All right, thanks, Laura. Comments? All right, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. My report can be found on page 37. Officer Jared Sadinsky started with us about 18 months ago. He's hired on December 1st of 2022. He just completed his probation, and our probation period's 18 months long. It's pretty intense for them because there's a lot of different things that they have to handle, and they get critiqued on daily. And they sit down with the sergeants and they go over their evaluations, what they did good, if there's any corrections that need to be made. But they get evaluated on operation of squads, the geography, any of the electronic communication, patrol tactics, and officer safety. They go back and they look at the video cameras in the squads, and they look to make sure that they've done everything right in regards to that. They're also looking at, when we do referrals to the DA's office, they look at case law and criminal law when they write their reports. They're reviewing departmental policy, problem solving, a lot of report writing, some traffic enforcement. They handle a variety of investigations, and they're also then evaluated on their self-initiated field activity and their professional standards. So there's a lot that's asked of them during this 18 months, and he's done a very good job with our department. So the commission had approved him being removed from probation to a full-time status. Following that, we did do a speed enforcement on West Fulton Street. Everybody knows with the hill that's there that the vehicles like to speed down it. We had the speed sign that was up that does help deter and reduce some of the speeds. But during that time, they did a total of 44 traffic stops that resulted in 14 citations and 34 warnings. I could give you a lot more details, but unfortunately, with our system being down, we're not able to submit those reports and get them, so this is just going through the citations. One of the things that we've also been doing over the years is we work with the Wisconsin Commercial Tobacco Prevention Coalition. So they come into the city of Waupaca and they'll go to establishments that we have that sell tobacco, and they have underage people that are trained. They go in, they attempt to buy. For the most part, our city has done a magnificent job. Last year, we did have one violation where a person was able to buy some tobacco products. That person who sold it and then the business who's on the license, each of them received a citation. So that's going to be coming up sometime. They don't tell us what day they're going to do it. They just come into town, and then when they're done, they get a hold of us. Training-wise for our department, a few months ago we went to this, and this was brought forward by the officers, by our firearms instructors. So we're really lucky to have three of them, Matt Batt, Pete Krager, and Tom Grant. We work about 15 minutes to 30 minutes a month. Doesn't involve any overtime. They do this while they're working. They take the officers down in our new training room, and they work on them with skills to make them more proficient. In the month of May, they just worked with malfunctions of rifles, of anything that were to happen while they're moving to cover. When your gun jams, how are you going to clear it instead of standing there and being a target? They actually talk about how to move and clear that malfunction. So in June, they made it more difficult. They had to put on all their tactical gear with their helmets and their tactical vests and do the same thing, which is obviously a lot more difficult. That's an extra 30, 40 pounds that they're carrying. So that's something that we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun for the staff for training. We did start our first Cops and Bobbers program. That event was held Father's Day weekend, Strawberry Fest. That event consisted of 10 kids that showed up. They were able to work with the DNR with rules and laws that they have to follow. The officers took them out fishing in the boat. Some of them wanted to fish from shore. All the kids did catch fish, and they went home with a full belly because they had food, got fishing poles, lures, and tackles, and a lot of that was provided with donations from Walleyes for Kids and also Shields. And then the other thing that we're able to do that we haven't in a long time is because of COVID, we always used to have a parade for the Special Olympics when they go to Stevens Point. So we're able to do that again down at the park, play bags with the kids, and enjoy a lunch with them. They had a lot of fun with that. Those are the fun things that happen in the department. Unfortunately, this month was pretty busy. We had 2 incidents that were domestics that involved weapons in each of them. One of them involved a person where a gun was discharged and it struck the other person in the neck, just grazed them. We were very lucky that it wasn't a lot worse, but again, with the officers that we had on the scene with the training and everything, we were lucky. We had a hostage negotiator, 2 SWAT team member, a firearms instructor, former SWAT team member, and then one of our detectives. And it's because of the training that these officers had that they were able to talk the person out after a short period of time. And the same thing happened later in the week when they responded to another domestic. The officers that were at the scene, with the training that they had, they were able to get that person out without any other problems. And then we were able to use our flock cameras that we have around the city for a couple stolen vehicles that we had during the same week. So they were able to track where those vehicles were going, and subsequently that person was arrested after a short chase in the county. And they were able to use the drones that each of the departments have to locate that person in the woods. The dogs were not able to locate where that person was, but the drones were with the heat signature. And then we're just very lucky to have the support that we do from the citizens in the community. Megan Waller, Tara Perez, Piggly Wiggly, they all gave us cash donations. All this money that we received went back into our community outreach that we do for the city and the Holidays with Heroes. And Creative Converting gave some napkins and paper products for the Cops and Bobbers program. So that's all that I have. If anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Chief. Let's go over to Josh.
Well, if anyone's been paying attention, word's out that both the school and the county have been hit with cyber incidents. So that's probably some internal discussion about what we're doing here, and a couple different things. The city now has a cyber insurance policy, and with that, they've put some requirements on things we need to do, and probably the biggest, most noticeable thing our staff will see shortly is everyone will be required to do multi-factor authentication on email, and probably within the next month or so we'll get that implemented. We're going to have to do that on our VPN connection as well. So the insurance has some, and they're good requirements, best practices, but some things that we have to do to maintain that policy. There's some other improvements that I've worked on. We got some advice from a staff member at one of those organizations. If I were you, I would do this, this, and this. So we've made some changes, and there's some other things we'll be working on. There is also a cybersecurity grant that Greg and I will be working on shortly as well. Been working with the police department on their new squad, which is pretty much ready to go now. And then the other big thing in the past month is, as far as I can tell, I believe it's the 34th year that the community media department has videotaped and broadcast the 4th of July parade downtown. So if you weren't there and want to see it, it's on our YouTube channel. There's some pictures from the parade and fireworks on Facebook and the city website as well.
Thanks, Josh. Anybody have comments, questions? All right, let's go talk to Barb.
Thank you, Mayor. My report is on page 41. June was busy with the renewals for a lot of the licenses that we have. All the reports that needed to be filed with the state have been filed for all those. It's hard to believe that it's already the August election on August 13th for the partisan primary. We did have to have the ballots out by June 27th. So we had mailed out 220 absentees that we had on file to mail out. They continue to come in daily, so we get those out within 24 hours during the week. In-person voting absentee voting starts on July 30th at 8 a.m. and goes to the Friday, August 9th at 5 p.m. And we've been working with the nursing homes, trying to schedule voting there and setting up the election workers for that and also for the day of election. And then the pre and public tests that we do for the voting machines have to be done the week before the election as well. And then just continue to keep the database up to date so we have the most up-to-date database that we have. And that's about it.
Thanks, Mark. All right, Aaron.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Council members, I was not able to get a report in the packet this month. You will have a city NTK newsletter issued this Friday, but I do want to go over a few things. One, we continue to actually, Mayor Smith and I continue to work with Senator Cabral Guevara's office on asking some questions to try to gain as clear of an understanding as possible about shared revenue and how those calculations worked out, not only lately with the supplemental payment, but back in 2001, which most of it was based off of. So we are getting responses about once a week, and with each question comes a little more clarity, and we'll see where that takes us. Emergency management meeting recap. I want to thank all of the department heads who gave quite a bit of time yesterday, about 2 hours, as well as Eric, Colin, who are representatives on the emergency management committee. We kind of took a little bit of a shift with some of those local incidents that Josh described. We took a look at just COOP-COG training, which is continuity of operations and continuity of government. We started asking ourselves the questions on if an incident, it doesn't need to be cyber, it could be a tornado, it could be a power outage, it could be a number of things. If something were to happen and we didn't have this, or this, what are the critical operations or essential operations that we would really struggle to do? And what are the actions that we can take to kind of prepare ourselves to better perform those in a situation like that? So appreciate everyone's time yesterday. We'll continue down that road. Also, while I'm on that topic, I want to recognize Josh for his attention to that topic of cybersecurity as of late. It's one of those things that, there's a lot of things going on. It's hard to just drop everything and prioritize something. That's exactly what he's done over the last couple of weeks, and really appreciate that. Also, personnel meeting, a little update on how that committee is doing. You'll see a grant policy that's coming forward tonight, recommended by the personnel committee. And then also today we started a discussion on captive pay, which is also a policy within the employee handbook, and potentially something coming forward on that. Before it gets to city council, it will go through the personnel committee again, as well as the utility board. I believe, Jared, downtown late nights, is that this week?
Yes, it's the 18th.
Okay, so just a reminder for everyone, this is the night of the month, this Thursday until 7 p.m. A lot of the downtown stores are open, so if you have a chance, get down there. Also want to thank a number of people, not only with the Manawa incident that was mentioned before. Appreciate all of the work of Sam and Jesse and Justin, and then a lot of people on Monday went over there to Manawa just to kind of make sure that they had what they needed. We've provided a list of equipment and things that may be able to help that they may not have. They have not gotten back to us that they need those things as of now, but it could come. And then I just want to remind the city council that we do have mutual aid agreements with a number of communities within the county. Manawa actually ends up not being one of them. However, we treated this situation as if they were, and really we probably should add a few more communities to that mutual aid agreement. Also want to assure council that in those mutual aid agreements, costs, if we're assisting, is often or almost always covered outside of city dollars. And then also, of course, we need to prioritize our own needs, and the mutual aid agreement does say that prior to going to assist another community. Also, Mayor and I and Chief Ozell have been involved in conversations regarding the labor union negotiations. That's been going on for several months. I also want to thank Nicole Hahn, Randy Bush, who are the reps for the police union, and then Kevin Sorensen, who's the WPPA rep. We do have visitors from our sister city coming, from Matoyo City, Japan, August 11th through August 20th. So if City Council wants to mark their calendars, we have a specific city welcoming on actually August 13th at 9 a.m. It's going to be right here on the front lawn at City Hall. There will be some, like a welcoming remarks, some formal pictures taken, and some welcome gifts for the visitors. And then last but not least, we did have, we've been talking childcare. I want to give Greg Groman a lot of credit. His role in the Dream Up team and that grant that was received just continues. And today we had a meeting with a number of stakeholders, including local philanthropists, local childcare providers, State of Care, to talk about how do we get serious about increasing capacity. So hopefully more to come on that. I have more, but I won't bore you, and we'll end it there. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, any questions, comments? All right, so remember that we moved one item up to the beginning, and so we'll do that right now. This has to do with public engagement strategy for the downtown actions, and that is, I'll turn it over to Greg.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So I am giving an update on the Public Engagement Committee. This is a relatively new committee of the city, started about a year ago. The mission of the committee is to engage in outreach activities with city residents and businesses to ensure that the community is educated on city initiatives and also that the city is educated on the priorities of community members. So for the last couple of months, we've been kind of thinking about what that mission means and how do we do that. We've been working to identify some issues that we've heard about in the community in kind of a more narrow geographic area so that we can develop some protocols and processes about how to do effective public engagement without getting too big too fast. And so we, with the help of Jared, have identified a couple of issues that downtown stakeholders have raised around smoking, open intoxicants, and ATV and UTV use. And so the strategy that you see in the what would you call it, the packet, is an effort of the Public Engagement Committee to get more feedback from those downtown stakeholders. And it outlines a process with timelines, responsibilities, all of that, methods, evaluation, to get feedback that may or may not inform policy, or at least approaches to how we as staff and as elected officials can think about these issues. So the downtown engagement strategy doesn't recommend any solutions. It really is an effort to just listen to those core stakeholders. So no action is required, but just wanted to provide an update on what the Public Engagement Committee has been doing since I don't know if you've heard from us before. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
What's going on here?
I've been waiting for you.
He's done already? Your 30 minutes is done already, Greg?
That's right. You're welcome. You got 30 minutes back in your life.
27 anyway.
Walk into a room and people are staring at you. Whoa, what's going on? All right, let's go to new business. This would be a short-term rental agreement with American Asphalt Company. Justin?
Hey, sorry about that. Could not get to my mute button quick enough. Okay, so page 80 on 84 is my memo followed by the agreement as prepared by our attorney. I will note immediately that we have 3 errors that show up. It is the address of what we're talking about. So within the document, we have 415 South State Street. So that should be School Street. So 415 School Street. So this is the old Tech Ed building, the old HFH building, the old temporary office for myself and the facility superintendent. And now we are looking to do a short-term rental agreement with American Asphalt Company. So if you're not aware of American, as they're called, they're a pretty large company in central Wisconsin. They do a lot of work on DOT projects. They've done work for the city. They are an asphalt paving company. This season and starting up pretty soon, they have a couple DOT projects in the area. One is Highway 49 from River Street up to Iola. The other one is County Highway A, or Highway 2254 from Apple Tree Lane up to the roundabout. Both those projects will be starting soon. And with that, they need field trailers, and it just so happens that, I guess, with our workings in Public Works, talking with these people, they said, hey, we have a need for this, and do you have any space? And we just so happen that we do. So the building that we're talking about, the old HFH, as it's currently described, is vacant. So we are using it as a city, pretty much just as storage space. And in the meantime of figuring out what we're going to do with it long term, we figured that we could get a little revenue by allowing this lease. So the terms of the lease are included within the packet. Those were created by basically our attorney after discussion between the city and the American of what would be acceptable. The basis of it is they will move in starting tomorrow, if approved, and will pay $1,050 to use a partial of the space. So they don't need the whole space, just a small chunk just for one desk, one conference table, basically a handful of chairs, a few parking stalls when they have meetings, and then, of course, the bathrooms that are there. So they are fully aware that we are continuing to use the remainder of the space for storage. We can come in and out as we feel. What's included in this $1,050 is all the utilities. So basically, this does cover us for sewer, water, internet, and gas and power. So basically, instead of transferring the utilities over to American, we just agreed to cover them. And with the discussions, we just increased the monthly lease up to $1,050. So that is it in a nutshell. I guess I'll kind of open it up to questions, but again, note that in the action, the address is wrong. We will fix that before we get signatures.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to make a motion? Oh, Colin, go ahead.
Justin, did you say that the vehicles were going to be fuel vehicles or just what I'd call regular passenger vehicles?
Yeah, they're just regular, mostly pickup trucks. For the most part, an engineer will be in there, like a project manager, project leader. They'll have weekly meetings, and at times they'll have, 3 to 6 vehicles parking in the rec center parking lot.
You don't imagine that these vehicles are heavy construction related? I guess I'm struggling for like a fuel refilling vehicle or anything that would require some sort of I guess when I worked in that industry that we called them BMPs, but separate management in case of spills, et cetera, that would damage either the property or the river nearby.
No, not at all, Colin. And at most, we'd expect like a 3/4 ton pickup truck to be the biggest type of equipment or vehicle associated with this use.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the lease with American Asphalt.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hagan, second by Dykstra, that we approve of the agreement with American Asphalt to lease 415 School Street. Any discussion?
I find it ironic that Paul made the motion, but if you were to sign this as is, isn't that your house, 415 South State?
No, that's someone else's house.
It's got to be close, though, right?
Actually, I think it's your address.
That's three. That's right.
Three.
Yeah. Anyway, 415 doesn't even exist, does it?
Yeah, I believe it does. It's just down the way from me.
Anyway, I thought that was fun.
Done, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Barbara, call the roll.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Dimitri Martin,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Eric Halverson,
Aye.
Corey Nagel,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thanks, Justin. Next up, Waupaca Chain of Lakes, SSA amendment. Jared, I'll just turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item starts on page 85 of your packets. Justin, feel free to jump in at any time if my simpleton terms are not getting the job done. So for our wastewater plant, we do have a defined boundary that we went through a process with East Central Regional Planning Commission to create this boundary. And essentially, we can develop within the boundary and they can have access to sewer, and we don't have a problem with that. If we want to go outside that boundary, we need to annex more into that area. In this case, we are prepping for the River North Ridges multifamily project. A kind of condensed version can be found on page 86 of your packets. The red line is our current boundary for our sanitary sewer service area. And as you'll see, that little green box is not in it. Ticor would like to build, would love to build the other half of those two buildings. So as such, we are going through a process of amending the boundary to include that approximate 50,000 square feet into the sanitary sewer service area boundary. So to do this process, or to, I guess, accomplish this process, we do need to get approval at our level to send a application to East Central Regional Planning Commission, in which they would bring it to their boards and commissions and committees, and they would take the official action on whether or not this change could or can't be made. So bringing forward all the application materials to you guys to show you what we will be submitting. There's a memo from Department of Public Works. There's a memo from my department. There's an application. There's a swap letter explaining what we're looking to do, as well as a letter from the wastewater plant, letter of support. So if okay with you guys, I'd be looking for approval to send this application to East Central Regional Planning Commission so that they can take it through the proper process and approvals. If possible, or if it gets approved tonight, we would send that in, and I do not believe their meeting, their first meeting is until the beginning of September. The staff there that we were working on this with did not see any issues, but of course they are not the decision makers. They have to send it through the appropriate channels, so that's what they would do. Ticor has been notified of this. They are not concerned that this will be, at all a hiccup in the road, as even if we don't make that September meeting, they would not start these two buildings specifically until next year. So we do have a bit of time to work this through, but staff here would like to get it done as soon as possible. Happy to take any questions.
All right, again, just looking to swap some land in and out. This is obviously a spot where you want to have sewer anyways, being close to the river like that, but this would go along with the River North project. So we'd need a motion to approve this.
Move to approve.
Motion by Olson.
Second.
Second by Perchatsky, that we approve this swap of the sewer. Any discussion? Colin, go ahead.
What's the area that's being removed that we're swamping?
Yes, the area being removed is actually a portion of Swan Park, which we were informed by Laura that we will never develop Swan Park in any form of needing sewer, so housing, multifamily, or commercial. And it's also a portion of the sledding hill, so it would be fairly difficult to develop as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, Barbara, call the roll.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Yes. Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra,
Aye.
Dimitri Martin,
Aye.
Corey Nagel,
Aye.
Eric Helverson,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky.
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
Jarrett, thank you. Next up, employee handbook grant policy and procedures. Aaron, it's you.
Yes. Let me get to the right page here.
104 it says.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Mayor Smith. City Council members, this starts on page 104 of your packet. As previously mentioned, this is something that has been to the Personnel Committee a couple times, amended a couple times, and now being brought forward to you. I can tell you that for the most part, we've been operating under the confines of this, or at least the ideas of this policy. However, we did not have anything that was really in writing for organizational purposes. So really, as you can see there, the summary of this is we're just aiming to protect the city against potential legal liability, prevent unplanned or short and long-term financial liabilities. We want to make sure we protect against staff capacity, and we don't get to a point where, hey, we didn't review exactly how much administrative time this will take, and now we can't do it. We can't meet the requirements of that grant, and we get penalized for that. Obviously, some of the largest, that is a big one, but a lot of times that short-term and long-term financial liabilities is what City Council often finds themselves most interested in. So you can see in the actual policy, it kind of outlines a process in which staff must go through and approvals that staff must get to even apply for it. And then if we are awarded that grant, it always has to come, if it has any of those 1 through 9, it always has to come for City Council approval, or I'm sorry, 1 through 4. So this is something that Greg had worked on. We had talked about it at the Personnel Committee level, and this is, again, in place to just protect the city against some of those things that I previously mentioned. There is an attached form, the grant application review form. This is something that department heads or supervisors or whoever is responsible for that grant would fill out, and then it would have to be signed by myself, Stephanie in this case, finance director, and in certain situations, also the mayor, before approving the application. So we would be recommending approval of this, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Go ahead, Corey.
So I like the form. Who's allowed to start this process? Could it be anybody, or typically who is it?
Could be anybody. So we have, oftentimes it's department heads. But there are certainly, like right now, we're working on a police, or we just kind of went through this process even before it was adopted with someone in the police department. That's a supervisor. So as long as the supervisor has, we would not work with someone whose supervisor was not aware of it, but somebody that is not in a supervisory position could potentially be the main grant contact.
But there's obviously multiple checks along the way.
Correct. Yeah. So in this case, this example I'm giving you, we set a meeting with this individual and the chief of police and myself and Stephanie and Greg to make sure a lot of these questions were answered. We got sufficient answers and then signed off on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Questions? Looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Martin, second by Nagel, that we approve the employee handbook grant policy and procedures. Any discussion? Barbara, call the roll.
Corey Nagel,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Dimitri Martin,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Eric Helverson,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
10 ayes, motion carried.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Next up, you have license report number 1683. This is for operator's license. Did I miss one? Where are you, sorry? License report number 1682, I'm sorry. This is a Class B fermented malt beverage license for the Waupaca Curling Club. They have a new agent, some lowlife named Christopher Smith. Sorry, that's my son. Is now going to be the agent for the curling club.
And appreciate Bonspiel coordinator.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not watching. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve license 1682.
Second.
Motion by Dykstra, second by Hagan, that we approve license report 1682. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. License report number 1683. This is operators or bartender's license. Again, looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Motion by Peterson,
Second.
second by Olson, that we approve license report 1683. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, and we did D already, earlier. So we are at a time where we are asking you to go into closed session. So we would need a motion to convene into closed session.
I'd make a motion to go into closed session in accordance with State Statute 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, more specifically, labor contract negotiations between the city and Waupaca Professional Police Association.
We have a motion by Hagan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Veliker, that we convene into closed session. We are going to ask one, Aaron, of course, as the city administrator, but also Chief Ozell to stick around. Otherwise, the department heads and Greg are able to leave. All right, so we just need to vote on going into closed session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no.